What could be Spyro's future after the remaster? Let's find out! What's up, guys? Canadian Guy A here. I know that we have gotten confirmation of Spyro's comeback and even a release date. And of course, you guys know I am pumped through the roof about it.
I feel fired up, Bob.
But the question is, what about afterwards? After the game has been finished, our childhood nostalgia rekindled, and we've platinumed the game twice. What will happen to Spyro afterwards? Like I said, I know that we got the announcement already, but still, I can't help but think about it. See, Toys for Bob designing the game is actually a huge detail that cannot be overlooked. A lot of people thought that Vicarious Visions was making the remaster, but when the Toys for Bob logo popped up, people were shocked. Even though I made a video about the idea of Toys for Bob making the remaster, it still shocked me. How does Toys for Bob play into Spyro's future though? Toys for Bob's launch pad into the place that they are now was Skylanders. Suffice to say, Skylanders is not doing so great in the gaming market. However, Skylanders over on Netflix is doing quite well. Award-winning, actually. So that kind of leaves a franchise in a weird limbo. But this is where things also go for a turn. A huge misconception is that Toys for Bob was behind every single Skylanders game, but actually they weren't. Toys for Bob had a partner company that also did Skylander games. Hence, they were able to pump out a Skylander game almost every year. And that company was Vicarious Visions, the creators of the Insane Trilogy. Vicarious and Toys for Bob had the exact kind of a relationship that Infinity Ward has with Treyarch when it comes to Call of Duty. This is why they can constantly release new Call of Duties every year, because they have two completely different teams working on different titles. In some of the Skylander games, Toys for Bob sometimes help Vicarious Visions, and likewise, Vicarious sometimes help Toys for Bob. But in Skylanders' worst selling game in the franchise, Skylanders Imaginators, Toys for Bob was left by themselves to work on the title, cause at that time, Vicarious Visions was working on the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. They could not reach out and lend a hand, which, in my theory, contributes slightly to why Imaginators performed, well, so poorly.
How about this one? I call it bold and brash. More like belongs in the trash!
Sorry, I must have missed that one.
So Toys for Bob was given the reins for the Spyro remaster, and judging by the reaction so far, people are in absolute love with the game. So is Toys for Bob going to go back to making a Skylanders games after Spyro is finished? Honestly, I don't think so, because I think that we may be in for a ride for a few more Spyro games led by Toys for Bob. Let me explain why. Way back when there was a leak by a magazine called GBI, it had announced a few things about the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy before it was taken down quickly. One of those things was said that Crash would be coming to the Switch and Xbox One later that year. This was before Laura Kate Dale's leak about Spyro. Then, at Nintendo's Direct, Nintendo announced that Crash was coming to Switch, and then Xbox announced that it will be coming to Xbox One as well. So this leak pretty much hit the nail right on the head, but there was another detail that originally was the detail that people deemed the article as fake. They had said that Activision has a 5-year plan for Crash Bandicoot. Like I said, people thought it was fake at the time because of the opposing rumors that Vicarious was making the Spyro remaster. If Activision had plans for Crash Bandicoot for the next 5 years, then why would they hand it off to anybody but Vicarious Visions? That would stop and interrupt the Spyro production, which is what the rumors had said. But with Toys for Bob doing the game, this alleviates that worry and requires us to take a look at the leak again. If it got everything else right, with evidence backing it now, then its claim that Vicarious Visions has a 5-year plan with Crash seems pretty legit. But what is the rule that I always keep saying between the relationship of Crash and Spyro? Whatever happens to Crash, happens to Spyro. I honestly believe that Spyro will also get the same treatment that Crash is getting. He too may be given a plan for the next 5 years. But here is my theory as to how all this is going to go down. Either at E3 or PlayStation Experience this year or next year, we are going to be getting a new Crash game, either revealed or released. It will be an entirely new Crash game, likely based off the Crash from the Insane trilogy. Then the following year, we will be treated to the same thing for Spyro. Then, for the next 5 years, there may be a pattern bouncing back and forth, just like how Skylanders or Call of Duty's relationship was done, except with 2 legendary platforming IPs. 1 year will be Crash, then the next Spyro. Back to Crash, then back to Spyro. It'll be like a ping pong match. But do they have enough time to be able to do all this? Well, according to some sources, Crash took about 2 years to make, but we will say with pre-production, with a small team set aside, while Vicarious was finishing up their current project at the time, let's add an additional 6 months. So 2.5 years. Crash was made on the Alchemy engine, and they had said that this was the farewell to that engine, as Crash would be the last game to run on it. So, they're going to have a new engine for Crash. He might join Spyro and run the Unreal Engine, but honestly, it's just a guess at this point. There was no report on how long it took for Toys for Bob to do the Spyro remaster. However, if we look at the release of their last game, it was in October of 2016. When the Reignited trilogy comes out, it will be almost exactly 2 years, just like the same production time for Crash Bandicoot. So, once again, with a small crew set aside to start pre-production while they finish Imaginators, probably about 2.5 years. Now, there might be a 1-year buffer before we get into the rhythm of the new Spyro and Crash games, so 2019 could be barren when it comes to these 2 IPs. Crash needs to go to a new engine, and I honestly don't think that they were prepared. Activision had admitted that they did not expect Crash to do as well as it did, so there may not have been that small crew set aside for the future Crash game, or even money for that matter. However, Activision was prepared for Spyro. The evidence was shown through the teases, social media campaigns, etc., etc. I could be wrong, however, and they may have something planned for this year, but I think 2020 and onward, we might see these guys come back into the limelight again with new games and new experiences. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below and let me know what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, follow me on Twitter, and please consider donating to my Patreon. Links are in the description below. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye!